Craig and I had both been married for over 21 years separately. We got married the same year. We got divorced the same year. Our kids were the same age. I had a desire to adopt through all of my activities and experience as a CASA, and also being in children's ministry. And just once I became a parent, I really developed a burden for children.
Once we got married, her children were with us every other week. Mine was with us every other weekend. So, we would go a whole week at a time with nobody in the house. I could feel we were on the verge of just the selfishness of just wanting our own time and not doing anything else. But I felt like God was just putting it in our hearts that it's time to bring somebody else into the house.
We felt that tug of, yes, it's not about us. This is great that we have one another, but that's not the whole purpose of marriage. And we have a mission to accomplish. But there was a moment of feeling like, but did we really supposed to do that? Because this is so great.
We only wanted one child, and we both agreed that a boy would probably be the easier to raise.
Once we were approved, we received case summaries of kids. That's very common. They show you kids and tell you a small version of their story. I would review the stories and we talk about them. He finally had to stop getting the stories because they were too heartbreaking for him. I even had a friend come in to work, just pop in. She would do that occasionally to chat at lunch. And she said, man, I took my daughter. We volunteered today at Head Start. We were doing music for the preschoolers. And there was a little girl there. She was about 3, and she was just buck wild. And I kept thinking, man, I just felt impressed that she's supposed to be with you all. And I said, well, that's great, but we're getting a boy, and he's in elementary school. And after more case summaries came to us, finally one day I was looking on my break, reading one that had gotten sent to me of these 2 precious kiddos, a boy and a girl. They were 3 and 5, and she just happened to come in. And when she did, I said, look at these sweet kids. It just breaks my heart. Look how precious they are. And she said, that's the girl. And when she said that, I was like, well, maybe we're not supposed to get a boy that's in elementary school. Maybe we're supposed to have a 3 and a 5-year-old, boy and girl. And maybe it's not up to us. So from that moment, that was the beginning of God showing us that he was in control of this. He had a plan. We didn't have to make the plan.
No.
And ours wasn't going to be as good as his anyway.
After talking about it and just praying about it, I guess I just came to the realization that this is the way we're supposed to go. This is where he's leading us, and kind of got it started to get them to be our foster children.
Once the kids came to be with us, it very quickly became clear that it was harder than I thought it was going to be. I couldn't sleep at night. I cried all night, and every day I would just struggle throughout the day. And then every night, once the kids were in bed, Craig would talk me back into another day. And looking back, I understand that that was God saying, you're not going to do this on your strength. Learning that early on was just so helpful because I needed to rely on him and realize that we're doing something bigger than us.
I knew this is the path that God has put us on. I knew we were following him, so we couldn't turn around. We are experienced parents, as experienced as you can be, but it is so hard. Now we've brought these 2 little ones in that have experienced more trauma in their short lives than the majority of anybody. And you cannot parent them like you would kids that haven't been through that. And I think that's what made it so hard. But I just knew we had to push forward. We just had to stay the course.
One of the people that had initially said, are you sure you want to do this? This is so hard, was my mom. And she just loves me so much. She's always supported me. And after I had been through a 21-year, very difficult marriage and finally gotten my life back, I think it was hard for her to see me commit to something so difficult. So when I was going through my struggle, I was avoiding her. Finally, I couldn't avoid her at the end of that 2 weeks any longer. She was insisting, so we went over for dinner, and I didn't say anything hardly through dinner. I really couldn't talk. I was choked up. I had a knot in my throat the whole time. And once the kids left the table, she just looked at me across the table and looked straight in my eyes, and she said, "You can do this."
There was like a weight lifted with her mom saying that to her, letting her know that she could do it. So it was just like that, just that big heavy weight that she was feeling was just gone. And now that we're 11 years down the road, they're 16 and 14 now, but it's still hard. And you're still parenting teenagers, but we get the added bonus that we're parenting teenagers of abuse or trauma. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. As hard as it is, it has been the best that we've ever done.
People will say, "Oh, they're so blessed to have you." And no, we're blessed to have them. My encouragement for people considering fostering or adopting would be follow that. God's putting that on your heart for a reason, and He will help you understand what it is. So just continue to take the steps to learn more, because there's nothing more worthy that we've done or could have done as a couple.
This has been the hardest thing that I've ever had to do. But it's also been, at the same time, it's been the most rewarding. Just to raise these two. If it's on your heart, you just have to obey and follow God. And He will lead you to the kids that He wants you to raise. He will take you there. You just have to obey and walk the path.